Hi and welcome to my real life application video. My project is about money laundering and how it's related to accounting. I will talk about what money laundering is, its history and how it originated, the methods of money laundering, the penalties, list some examples, and I'll relate it to accounting. First, what is money laundering? Money laundering is a process that criminals use in an attempt to hide the illegal source of their income by passing money through complex transfers and transactions or through a series of businesses. The money is cleaned of its illegitimate origin and made to appear legitimate business profits. Money laundering is big business. The United States Nation Officers on Drugs and Crime estimated the amount of money laundered globally in 1 year is 2 to 5% of global GDP. That is around 80 billion US dollars to 2 trillion US dollars. Okay, so where did it originate? US money laundering dates back to the early 1920s when members of the mafia were earning huge sums of cash from illegal gambling, bootleg liquor, and other underground activities. They needed a way to legitimately explain these funds and came up with the brilliant idea of purchasing laundromats. Laundromats were a cash-only business, but over time, even the laundromats couldn't explain just how they were as profitable as they had become. Mayor Lansky ultimately became the father of money laundering. He was determined to avoid Capone's fate, which is a conviction in 1931 for tax evasion, and was the one responsible for figuring out how to use the Swiss banking system to hide his growing cash reserves. He developed the first real laundering technique, which placed illegally received money into the Swiss bank and then loaned it back to other foreign banks, thus making it legitimate. But the term money laundering didn't appear in the mainstream media until 1973, when reporters began using it to reference the Watergate scandal. And oddly, it didn't appear in a judicial or legal context until 1982. Even though it was recognized as a legal activity by the Banks Secrecy Act. What are some methods of laundering money? The traditional forms of laundering money include smurfing, using mules, and opening shell corporations. Other methods include buying and selling commodities, investing in various assets like real estate, gambling, and counterfeiting. The rise of digital technology also makes it easier to launder money electronically. Combating and penalties in the UAE. The decree law defines a perpetrator of a money laundering offense as any person who is aware that money was derived from felony or misdemeanor, and intentionally continues to transfer, conceal, acquire, help somebody to acquire, or possess such money. Some of the most notable punishments laid down for contravention of the provision of the anti-money laundering laws are as followed. Any person who commits or attempts to commit a crime of money laundering as defined in Article 2 of 1 of the anti-money laundering law shall be sentenced to imprisonment for a period of no more than 10 years and or shall be subjected to fine of between 100,000 and 5 million dirhams. Now, what are some real cases of money laundering? There's the first case, which is the suitcase smuggling in November of 2019. Police arrested 10 suspected members of an organized crime gang under the suspicion of smuggling £15.5 million out of the UK to Dubai in suitcases. This is an example of the authorities building the case around suspected illegal activities. In this instance, usual travel patterns and living well above one's means and acting upon their investigations. The second case was in 2019. Mohammed Imran Khan, then 36, was caught by border force operatives trying to smuggle £1.5 million in 4 suitcases to Dubai. Each case weighed exactly 20 kilograms, which savvy border guards were able to recognize as suspicious before searching the cases and rambling the fundster. This is a great example of authorities spotting a strange pattern and acting on the suspicion. With such situations, it is always better to be safe than sorry. How is money laundering related to accounting? It may feel like betrayal of client trust, but accountants are legally obligated to report all suspicious activities even for low-value transactions, as Steve Gills explains. Accountancy bodies continue to promote best practice on anti-money laundering. For example, the Consultative Committee of Accountancy Bodies, an umbrella group for professional associations, offers accountants guidance on meeting their obligations under UK law to prevent, recognize, and report money laundering. And the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants issues sample anti-money laundering policies and procedures. Both provide anti-money laundering refresher and updated trainings. Accountants need to understand their legal anti-money laundering obligations, which include identifying suspicious activities and submitting suspicious activity reports. Accountancy service providers are key gatekeepers for the UK's financial system. As such, they are subjected to anti-money laundering regulations and have a significant role to play in ensuring their expertise and services are not used to further criminal activities.